Okay, hello everyone, it's Vicky Verley, the Rock and Roll Prophetess, and today we're going to take a look at the new moon of July 8th, 2013. There's a lot going on, and there's a lot going on this month of July. It's going to be pretty intense. In this chart, there's two water grand trines at two different points here. We've got one happening in the low degrees in the 5-degree range here. We've got Saturn at 4 degrees of Scorpio, trining Neptune at 5 degrees of Pisces. And over here, Jupiter's right in there, almost 3, and then Lilith at 4. And this Lilith thing, I've been through some crazy stuff here with this Lilith, and not in a good way. I think I'm going to do a little more research, and I want to really take a good look at this Jupiter-Lilith thing. And it kind of ties into everything that's happening with Paula Deen, too, and things like that. And I'm going to do a deeper look into it. And it's actually the stuff that has transpired over this transit of the last few days. I'm doing this about a week before, and it really has kind of shaken me up and kind of knocked me off my base. But I did make some notes, and there is some stuff that we can talk about for the general population. So there's those 2 grand trines in water. That's the low degree one at the 4-5 degree mark. And then also this new moon, the sun and the moon are both at 16 degrees at Cancer. That's also in here too. And it's tied, here we go again with the nodes. We've got the nodes, and then Chiron is the third part of that one. So, the nodes in Chiron are not to be, the Chiron's not to be messed with, and now I'm finding out Lilith is not to be messed with. Lilith is some serious stuff. So there's this darker element that's happening, and I'm trying to stay in the light and stay in my center and everything, but there's been some things here. But anyway, so these grand trines are powerful. It's powerful, and you can start seeing this thing forming. That's going to be forming this. I've heard it called the Star of David, and I've heard it called something else. But there's going to be this crazy pattern that happens later in July. It's like this big star. I should have did a chart to show it, but you can find it. Look up Star of David. But and I feel real strong about that. That's going to be something. It's like the Stargate locking in. That's when I looked at that. It reminds me of the Stargate, those symbols, the movie Stargate, where, those symbols have to lock in, and it's like click, like a combination lock. Click, locked in. I also want to say real quick, I want to, we kind of know that that child's coming through. The British royal child, William and Kate's child, is coming through. And it's going to be born, with that happening in the chart. And how it was, in the old days, that similar symbol, signified, say that 3 times fast, similar signal signified a great leader or a spiritual person to be born. And I do think that this child, the soul of this child that's coming through as this baby of William and Kate, I do feel like that's going to be... that is some kind of higher soul that's coming through, and it'll be interesting to see in the future what happens with that soul, that baby, that when it's grown up and becomes the ruler of England, or whatever is going to happen there. Okay, but let's get all this stuff out of the way, and I want to talk about some meat and potatoes stuff. Let's look at this in a meat and potatoes way, this chart. Well, one of the great things is that day Saturn goes direct. So that's nice. And that's especially nice for, the Scorpios and other water signs who have been feeling the effect of this Saturn retrograde. When Saturn's retrograde, I feel like it's more of the karmic end of it, going to the past, digging up this past stuff. And when it's moving forward, it's more about these the building of the new foundations of Saturn. So I think that's going to, a lot of things that have been frustrating and stalled, outside of our control, because these outer planets, it's almost like the major arcana in the tarot. It's like higher forces are at work. And the inner planets are the minor arcana, or the everyday activity, and the outer planets are the big picture and the bigger influences at work. So when those bigger planets, sometimes, especially when it's involved in this hold here of this grand trine and everything, it just, and Neptune's still retrograde, but I just feel like Saturn moving forward, let's put it this way, I just feel like Saturn moving forward is going to take some burden off, because Saturn can be cumbersome and a burden. It definitely is a heavy kind of vibe. So moving forward, laying new foundations, I feel good about that. Okay, so the new moon is, again, another new beginning. and it's in with the node. It's in, it's exactly trining the north node, and I realize it's sextiling the south node, of course, but the north node again is projecting forward. It's moving forward with the future. It's our life plan. It's our mission. It's why we're here. So I think that things are going to start moving forward. That's a good thing about this chart. Another good thing about this chart is this Venus in Leo. Venus is broken out of the pack and is into Leo and is trining Uranus. So that's kind of a good energy, I think. That's fun surprises. That's fun and excitement. If you were a gambler, that's a good aspect to gamble on. That could be like winning a jackpot. But it could also be like a lucky break. And especially if you have planets here at this 12-degree mark of fire or even air, or if that's like your 5th house. So say you had Aries rising, Leo in the 5th, Venus in your 5th is lucky anyway. Again, could be romance too, but it's Leo does rule the 5th house, so that's what and Venus, that's going to be fun and excitement. So that's a really nice aspect, and it's also opposing Juno here. But I don't feel like that's kind of a bad thing. I got a nice harmony about this. This is kind of like a nice energy. So unexpected surprises, something spontaneous goes comes up, do it. And I feel like it could be a really great fun here to if something, drop everything and let's go have fun out of nowhere. Let's just an opportunity could drop in people's laps too, just all of a sudden, and almost like it's that click into place thing again. So that's what this is, almost there. It's like a combination lock. This is what I see this as. And, some of these, they're locked into place, and when these final things lock into place, it's like click. Something's definitely clicking into place. Now, somebody had made a comment. I haven't had a chance to look yet, but somebody did make a comment about, there's other people talking about that 26 Sag, and that, and in the last reading, the Jupiter was at that point. Now, Mars is at that point. And, so that's in there too. So when this thing clicks into place, and it's just like maybe then the energy is really just going to start pouring through. That's what I feel, and in a good way. I don't feel like it's anything to be afraid of or dreadful or dreading about in any way. I feel like it's good. Also, with this Juno and this Venus thing, that could be generosity is bestowed upon you. Somebody could, that's definitely an aspect of being generous and being kind to other people. Or maybe you want to do that, and electronic, maybe you want to, who knows, make an anonymous donation, or, Venus, Uranus, that could be that kind of thing. And people are gregarious. Leos, we're gregarious. Leos are fun. Leos are fun to be around, and they're gregarious, and they definitely give as good as they get. They love people. They love strong. Leos have big hearts. So this is nice. This is nice. Take a rest from some of this deep stuff. I mean, I'm really surprised. I thought that this water energy was going to be so dreamy, and there's been some kind of crazy things happening. Also, besides Paula Deen, that woman down in Texas who's standing up against women's reproductive rights. But I want to get into a whole video about that. I don't want to spend too much time on it. The other thing that's going on is the old Mercury retrograde, and we got to talk about that a little. And I've had things mess up on me on Mercury retrograde. I definitely have. But, I'm wondering about this, if it's not due in part to our belief system. My brother, years ago, he bought, it was like maybe early 90s, he bought a used car, a late 80s model Buick car. And he's telling me he's going to buy a car. I go, oh, I don't know. Mercury's retrograde. Ooh, let's get all scared and freaked out. Oh, you never want to buy a car when Mercury's retrograde. Well, I'm going to tell you that car literally outlived him. And to my knowledge, it's the late 80s, and to my knowledge, it's still running. There's a guy who still has that car. He never had a problem with that car. And I almost, that always was like, and that made me question the Mercury retrograde. And I almost feel, I do feel that in his case, it's because he didn't believe in it. And I think he probably said something just like that to me. I don't believe in that stuff, And he had this car his whole life, and it never any major problems, just minor, normal, brakes or whatever, exhaust here and there, small things. That car is still running and literally outlived him. So I'm wondering about Mercury retrograde and whether we should, maybe let's try an experiment to change it in the collective unconscious. Is it only that we have that strong belief that it's going to happen? And if we didn't believe it, would it, not happen? But at any rate, I've had things happen with Mercury retrograde, car problems, the typical Mercury retrograde stuff. Now it's in Cancer, so if you know your rising sign, you would want to see where that house is. But in general, Cancer. The biggest vibe I get about that is going backwards with the family. Going back into the family, and old issues, family. People that you live with or in your house or your family members. So that would be the biggest generalized thing I would think that would be occurring. And it's also, it's funny that it's near this new moon, and one might say, projects launched and this new moon with Mercury in retrograde so close to the new moon point would not get off the ground, or would not be, maybe it's not a good time to launch these projects. So take it with a grain of salt. I have questions about Mercury retrograde, although, like I've said, things have gone haywire with me during Mercury retrograde as well. So I think that's about it for this new moon chart. Also, I wanted to mention real quickly, if any of you have small children, I have my other channel, Learning Songs for Kids. I just completed a new counting song, and I have other fun learning videos for kids. So if you have small children or know any people who have small children, if you want to take a look at it, you can go to my home page. In the upper right hand corner it says my other channels, and the cartoon face says Learning Songs for Kids. Click on that and it'll take you over there. Okay, so this is Vicki Verley, the Rock and Roll Prophetess. Remember that you are love and beauty incarnate. Thank you for commenting, thank you for liking, thank you for donating, and I will talk to you soon.